Coming up in this Fincast, we've got a huge problem with the Tannin Tank. It's so bad, I'm going to need to take it down.
I use the Chemi-pure Elite and Nouveau 16 and a couple teaspoons in a bag on each side and change it out like once a month, and it just keeps everything pure and clean, no phosphates, everything's good to go. It's pretty much a worry-free system because of the Chemi-pure.
Hi everybody, John here with another Fincast. Yes, I'm sitting on a bucket today and I've got some others right here nearby because what I'm going to have to do is I'm in front of my Tannin Tank here. A lot of you have talked a little bit about how much you like this aquarium. It's supposed to be a natural Amazon biotope, and if you notice, I've got all of these what they call botanicals in here. Botanicals, it's driftwood and it's pods and different things that actually come from the jungle, and you can order these from Tannin Aquatics, and it's been a lot of fun, but there's a huge problem with the tank. And the problem is when you have a tannin aquarium and you're looking to create sort of a blackwater situation, like something you would find in the jungle, you're looking typically at something that's low pH and very soft water. Well, for whatever reason, I have had high pH. In fact, I just checked it this morning, and I had to run two tests. I ran a normal pH, and it looked to me like it was off the scale, and then I ran a high-level pH test, which I would normally use with some of my African cichlid tanks, and that was showing me a pH over 8. And then I checked the hardness of the water, and it's almost off the scale. I'm looking at a 13. So even though I've got a Tannin Tank with a color and I've got all the botanicals in there, and some of the fish are thriving, the angelfish and the bleeding heart tetras in particular, I have a problem with super high pH and super hard water. So where is that coming from? I got to tell you, I didn't know. Not only that, but I still don't know, but I've got a theory. And my theory is that I put substrate in this aquarium. It was supposed to be sand that was inert or neutral, but I don't think that's the case. And I've also got some rocks in this fish tank, so the hardness could be coming from the rocks. So today we'll do a total redo of the aquarium. I'm taking the substrate out. I'm going to put some new substrate in, which I hope is inert and doesn't affect the pH at all. I won't put the rocks back in, but we'll put the fish and we'll put the botanicals back in. And I got to tell you that I ordered some new fish, and I just put in a beautiful pair of double red cockatoides Apistogrammas. That's very complicated for those of you who haven't been in the hobby for a while, but they are gorgeous fish. If you remember back in my last episode, I talked a little bit about how I was having attrition with some fish, but I never really saw a sick fish in the aquarium. I never saw a fish with fin rot, I never saw a fish with ick, I never saw a fish with a belly that was all tucked under, distended would be bloat. So the opposite of that. There's a word for that, but it's escaping me now. But I never saw a fish that looked like that, and yet my fish were slowly disappearing. Now, I theorized that could be the dwarf pygmy catfish, which live underneath this log right here, and I very seldom see them because they don't have a reputation for eating smaller fish, but a lot of what was not making it was the smaller fish, pencilfish, checkerboard cichlids, and actually some of my Apistogrammas would live for a while but not forever, so they weren't thriving in an environment that I was setting up to be perfect for them. So I started to think, well, maybe it's something else, and I just took for granted that I had a low pH or a normal quote-unquote pH, but now it's off the charts high. I mean, this tank is high enough and the water is hard enough. I could throw African cichlids in here right now and they would thrive. They would do fantastic. So then I started thinking, well, in my marine aquarium we run a calcium reactor. Here's how a calcium reactor works in very basic terms. I won't get lost on you, but stay with me for just a second, okay? You've got a bunch of stuff that is essentially old broken up corals and seashells. You put salt water in with that, and then you inject acid into that. So you're actually injecting CO2 into that, which creates acidic water in the bin. That acidic water breaks down the rocks, that basically the old shells and old pieces of coral that are in there, breaks it down, and then boosts it over into the aquarium where the living corals can soak it up. So what do you have? You have acid breaking down calcium. All right? Well, in this tank, you get tannic acid, there's your acid, right, from all of the botanicals that I'm putting in there. So my theory is that it's breaking down some of this substrate which may be full of calcium and I just didn't know it. So I'm going to take it out, put something else in, and keep the fish alive and take you through that process and then show you the tank as it's done. Okay, so now the aquarium is empty of fish, plants, and botanicals. They are all in these buckets down here, which contain tank water. So the fish didn't suffer any shock at all when I put them in that bucket. If it takes too long, I'll add a bubbler. If I can keep moving, I won't. And then the botanicals are right there in the water so that they are not exposed to the air for the most part. You see pieces of driftwood sticking out, but all the seed pods and so forth are, they're all underneath the water so that beneficial bacteria won't be killed by being exposed to the air. And so what I'm hoping, of course, is that when I put everything back in the tank, I'll have so much bacteria that there's no way that the tank will cycle and I'll have to worry about ammonia or anything like that. Right now I'm just actually putting a little bit more water back in the tank using the Python because it's so easy, and actually I want to make sure that I haven't missed any fish. The water was really cloudy and so forth, and this is another good look at all of the mulm I'll have to leave behind that's been from the decaying stuff. And you can see what's interesting is how quickly it settles, and that tank was a black mess literally 2 minutes ago. Still kind of is on that side, although part of that's the angle, but when you see the fresh water going in, all of that stuff just stays sediment right on the bottom. So I'm just going to put a little bit more water in, then I'll take it back out, then I'll scoop out the gravel, and we'll begin with the new aquascape. Okay, so I got right here to this part of the project and realized that I gave my son my wetback when his bathroom flooded, and I said, I'll get another one, this one's old, you just keep it, blah, blah, blah. So I went to get my wetback, because that's the best way to get rid of this crap that's left in the bottom. And it was gone, because I forgot. So, voila, new wetback. Okay, so the aquarium is empty. There's no more crud in the bottom, there's no more sand, and now I'm ready to put in some more substrate, and let's hope this is neutral substrate. What I'm going to use is this natural looking river rock, quote unquote, from Magitarium, which is the house brand for Petco, not PetSmart, Petco. I asked the clerk with purple hair, nothing wrong with purple hair, but she was young, probably doesn't know a lot about the aquarium trade, didn't know if it was inert, had never even imagined that question before, but said they'd been using this in their aquariums for 10 years and everything had been just fine. I'm just going to hope for the best. If not, it's going to wind up where the other stuff did. Well, let's start pouring it in the tank. I'm not too worried about gravel dust, because when you're going to put all the crud that I'm going to put back in this aquarium, a little bit of gravel dust won't make much difference. If it looks really awful when water gets up a couple of inches here, then I'll go ahead and do a rinse of the gravel just using the Python. What I want to do is make it just deep enough to get that gravel soaking, and to get it wet. And then I want to start putting in my anchor pieces, which would be the larger pieces of driftwood. Obviously, this is a key piece. It's really beautiful. I don't want to step off of my tarp here, but this is a really pretty piece. And so I want to put it in a place where we'll see it all the time. It's been on that side of the tank. I'm kind of tired of that. So let's just put it right in there. See what happens for a bit, okay? I want it to sit up like that. And there we go. Okay. Move some gravel around it. Of course, I've been really proud of these two branches. Whoa! Ever since I got them. Problem is they don't stick up by themselves. Maybe we'll do that. And this over here, I kind of like them facing each other. That goes like that. I want to get them up in the air a little bit, but well, that doesn't look too bad. I feel like that's a bit contrived, but I don't know. That's not so bad. I wouldn't normally do this, but because it's a tannin tank, I'm going to dump this old dirty water, including all the mulm and some of the crud that is on the bottom, back into the aquarium. By the way, if you have any doubts, that's what the water looks like. It's black. Ooh. That was a lot of crud to put back in there. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. We'll see. It should settle out pretty fast. Okay, so the water is still a little cloudy. That'll fix itself. And all those good nutrients will be back in the tank, and hopefully I'll have somewhat tannin colored water. So I'm reacclimating the fish, coming out of water that's pH over 8 and going into our tap water, which should be 7.2 to 7.4-ish, with a lot of the tannins back in the tank from the buckets. And right now everybody's looking happy, so hopefully we'll be good. I know you're not supposed to put bag water in the fish tank, but the fish have only been in these bags for what, 2 hours acclimating, and this is actually tannin water from the previous setup of this aquarium that I want in there. So I'm using bag water, but I'm doing it on purpose. And let's see how the fish are. And nobody is looking stressed. Okay, so everything is looking good. Just put the fish in, no stress. They are apparently very happy with this new setup, and there was no big shock from going from the water they were in to the cleaner, fresher water, lower pH water. So we'll give it till the morning and we'll see how clean the tank is and how everybody's doing. Okay, it's been about 12 hours and the tank is almost crystal clear. The tannins are not as prevalent as they will be when it starts to leach out of the botanicals, so it looks more like a clear, quote-unquote, normal fish tank right now. But as you can see, the fish are really, really happy. I just turned the light on so they're kind of waking up a little bit, but everybody is just swimming peacefully and happy, and they've been searching for food amongst the botanicals. I think the pea gravel was a really good choice for the look of the tank. It's just natural pea gravel, and it will take some time to see if the tannins start working on it like it did the sand, but I suspect I'll be okay. Oh, there's my big Apisto. So what do you guys think of my theory that the tannic acid, look how happy he is. He has way more color today than he did in that high pH water. He already looks happier. I can definitely tell you that. See the I don't know if you can see the yellows, but those weren't there. The rams have been going back and forth. They're still kind of white this morning, but that's mostly because I think I just turned the light on. But they were showing some really great colors last night. Well, there you're starting to see the color. And I did keep the driftwood cats in there because I've decided that they were not the culprit. What I think was happening was the high pH was slowly sickening the fish for whatever reason that are programmed by their DNA to live in blackwater, Amazon type environments that suggest a low pH. Now a lot of people do keep them in neutral water. That's the most I've ever seen the driftwood cat. I don't know what his deal is this morning, but there's 2 of those in there. So everybody's out and moving. I appreciate you watching Fincasters. Please look for us on Instagram and on Facebook. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.